talking a lot about Jahan Dotson. Yesterday, we find out that the Commanders traded away their 2022 first-round pick wide receiver, Jahan Dotson, who had a really strong rookie campaign, caught 7 touchdowns as a rookie, but last year was a down year. They trade him to Philadelphia. Philadelphia adds him to a receiving core where they already have A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. So they're going to be loaded at wide receiver for Jalen Hurts. What does this tell you about the Commanders' front office? There are some that believe it tells you that they know they're not close and they're acquiring draft picks.
To me, it doesn't tell me that. Maybe I'm just in pure denial. I don't think we're close, but it doesn't tell me that. It just tells, because I think if they would not take away something if they thought it would hurt Jaden's production and development. So I think they just think that for whatever reason, Santana wasn't or the right fit. He wasn't popping. They had other guys that were fit just as well, if not better. And we can get some assets for it and continue this rebuild and not really lose that much. That doesn't mean that they think that we're just going to be awful.
So that's a tweet from Barry's Verluga. Here's the exact tweet. He tweeted, "The Jahan Dotson trade shows you exactly how close this front office thinks this team is to competing, which is to say, ... not close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they can compete.
Yeah, I disagree with that.
But like we've said many times, no one expects them to do anything outrageous in the division. I mean, it's a tough division. You got a rookie quarterback, possibly a rookie left tackle, whole new coaching staff. Look at all the players they added just to 1- and 2-year deals. You got a whole new roster.
Mm-hmm.
And I would agree. I don't think they would have eliminated an offensive threat if it was going to hurt Jaden Daniels.
Right.
You just have to trust that Adam Peters and Dan Quinn know what they're doing here.
I think, honestly, and I don't mean this in a personal way, but I think it's more of an indictment on Jahan than it is the team. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
He's saying, and Barry could defend himself if he wants to come on. He's always welcome. But he's saying it's an indictment on the team and they're nowhere close. I'm saying, no, it's more of an indictment on Jahan. He doesn't really fit this scheme or whatever. I'm not saying he sucks. I don't think he does. But it's more of an indictment on him than the team.
I just don't get
I think his point is they traded away.
I don't get the.
And I think you have to throw the first-round thing out of there because Rivera kind of screwed up the whole
Nobody cares.
draft.
Once you start playing, nobody cares.
So I think he's just saying, all right, well, you're trading away a guy who was a starter for the last couple of years. And so what's that tell you about their future plan for this year?
Yeah. They're either going to make another move, which some people are postulating.
Or they're going to rely on unproven guys.
That they're going to make another move, or that they're going to draft a guy next year. I mean,
I don't think they think it's a negative. I don't think they think it's a subtraction. Like,
I agree.
JP's looking at it like,
they wouldn't have done it.
Yeah, JP's looking at it like they're doing this and it made the team worse. Barry's looking at it and it made the team worse. I don't think it did.
I think it makes the team worse.
I
think that
they probably don't think that, but it's possible.
And the part that I don't get, and coaches give you different messages all the time. But this coaching staff was all about, we don't just force feed a system. It's about getting the best out of these players and put them in the best spots so they can be successful.
Mm-hmm.
But EB keeps saying he doesn't fit into the system.
Well, sure. Am I supposed to change the whole system for one guy? I got 5 other guys that fits the system. So why should I change the whole system for one guy? That's my counter to that. I can counter anything.
But if I told you this,
literally an elite arguer.
We'll find out. We'll find out how elite you are.
Elite, world class.
I don't think you're wrong about the way they looked at Dotson. It's a subtraction to the team, no doubt. But if I would have told you at the beginning of the offseason that your starting receivers next year were going to be Terry McLaurin, De'Ami Brown, and Alameda Zaccheaus, what would you have said?
That's terrible.
Before you knew you had Jaden Daniels.
I would have said, well, I don't have faith in De'Ami.
You would have said it's one of the worst receivers.
I'm giving you my answer.
Right.
I would have said, I don't have faith in De'Ami, and I've never even heard of Zaccheaus. That's what I would have said to you.
You would have said, De'Ami sucks. You wouldn't have said, I don't have faith in him. You killed De'Ami.
No, I didn't say I didn't have faith in him. I would say,
you killed him last year.
I don't.
Go back to the tape. Tell me how many times he said De'Ami sucks. We can get rid of him.
I don't know if I've said that, but he hasn't done anything. I
Right.
would say that. Anything of note.
De'Ami Brown would kill for Jahan Dotson's career. I mean, De'Ami Brown's been in the league for
I
three
mean,
seasons.
maybe he puts up
He's been
7
in the league
touchdowns
for
this year. Who knows?
3 seasons.
Do you guys understand this?
and
But
he's given you a total of 29 catches and 3 touchdowns.
right.
Like, my point about De'Ami Brown.
So you think that's the problem is you just don't think that's who he is.
No, he might bump up, but
What if he wasn't used properly?
which is what I'm saying about Jahan Dotson. He's proven himself as a talent where there were some people that thought he was one of the best rookie wide receivers 2 seasons ago.
Mm-hmm.
He caught 7 touchdowns.
Mhm.
This staff should have been able to unlock Jahan Dotson based on what they saw 2 seasons ago. That was their job. That's what they said. We're going to get the best out of these guys. So are you telling me the best is behind Jahan Dotson? Maybe.
Possibly. I don't think
It's possible.
Put it this
Maybe
way.
he's-
He ain't gonna have. I don't think he's gonna have 50 catches with Philly.
Probably not.
Right.
No.
But that's
Well,
also
He
because
ain't
of
gonna
the
be
playing
featured
time.
in Philly.
But if
Well,
he
he's
was
number
He had a
3.
chance
but
to be
shouldn't this
featured.
staff with Cliff Kingsbury been able to say, okay, the guy caught 50 balls as rookie and 7 touchdowns. We can do better than that because we're a better staff. We got a better quarterback. We got a better system. He's good in motion, so we'll run some motion.
All I can tell you is you're looking at it in individual pieces. They're looking at it as a whole. At the
I'm
whole
not stupid.
offense.
I get it. I
No,
understand.
I'm not saying- I didn't
doubt
say
it.
you were stupid.
I doubt it's going
I'm
to work.
Okay, I'll bet you they score. What's the end of the day? What matters? Scoring points. This offense will score more points than last year's offense because of the collective talent and coaching process, scheme, all of it. Are they maybe lacking a little bit in one area, but maybe they're making it up in others?
Yeah.
Maybe. But this team, that's
I
at
don't
the end of the day, what matters? Score more points.
I don't think
We're
anybody
going to score
just-
more points. Bet me.
That's not.
Well, I agree
that's not
because
saying
they've
a
got
lot to say that they're
Jaden
going to score more
Daniels.
points than last year. Last year they sucked.
Last year they were about
Offensively.
25th. They scored 19.3, I think, per game.
Right.
But-
so they
okay,
didn't
so-
even get to 20 a game.
Okay, I think
So
this
they
year
better score more points
Okay,
this year.
but you just told me they got worse.
At
I didn't tell you
receiver.
that.
Who gives a
I
crap?
think overall the
Who gives
team
a
is
crap
better.
if I got a little bit worse here, but I'm better there.
Overall,
like,
because
all
maybe
that
they would
matters
be-
is the net goal.
Because maybe they would be even better if they retain Jahan Dotson. It's an unknown. There's a lot of unknowns. You're speculating. Yes, I think they're going to score more points simply because of Jaden Daniels.
I agree.
Eric, I'm not
I
saying that they're
agree.
worse without Jahan Dotson. I'm saying there's just more question marks.
And I think Jaden
at
Daniels.
at the receiving position, I think there's more questions.
Yes.
Okay, that's fair.
They might be better.
That's fair, but I
because
think
maybe some of these guys are better than Jahan Dotson.
But
I
at
don't
the
know.
end
We'll
of the
have
day,
to find-
Adam Peters, Dan Quinn goes, make this offense, rev it up as best you can. And they think it's going to be better.
And I
right.
think Jaden Daniels would be better with better weapons.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the league is doing with young quarterbacks in
What if he
particular.
can't get
They're
open?
trying to help young receivers by acquiring talent. That's what the Houston Texans did. They said, yeah, Nico Collins, Tank Dell, pretty good last year.
Yeah.
Let's add Stephon Diggs. And you see the Eagles, they could have been comfortable. Hey, we got 2 stud receivers who make a ton of money. We're cool with that. Instead, they said, let's load up even more.
But they might have said, all right, you know what? Luke McCaffrey's better than Jahan Dotson.
True.
So he's going to be that guy.
True.
Whatever
Agreed.
Dotson did, whatever role he played, Luke McCaffrey, our
I
rookie,
actually
is going
think
to be
they
that.
think Zacchaeus is better.
Maybe.
You may not think
But
so, but I
Zacchaeus
think
is
they
this
think
tall.
so. I
right?
know, but
so he's not like this big physical receiver.
No, but he might be still tougher.
I'm sure that's
Like,
a possibility.
You know what I mean? Plays with more physicality.
Yeah.
My son, I know no one cares about my kid. I'll just give an example. My kid could be the same size as another kid, say in lacrosse, and just as strong. Deadlift 515 pounds, 530 actually. But he's a shooter. He wasn't a physical in the crease guy. Same build, same size. My kid probably even deadlift more than your kid, but your kid plays more physical than my kid. You know what I'm saying?
So,
That's just. That
It
could be-
didn't work. It didn't work.
Yeah.
For whatever he was offering, just didn't work for the team. I get it. I'm just saying now there's just more question marks with the receiving core.
Absolutely. But maybe they
I know
have a master
Dotson wasn't
plan.
a world beater. I know that.
Maybe they've got a master plan. Like
Again.
again, on ProFootballTalk.com, it's changed. The headline was basically Commanders back in on Brandon Ayuk deal, or it's still possible.
Well, again, that would be manna from heaven. That would be amazing if that happens. I find that
I
hard
was
to believe.
kind of shocked that they traded Dotson, but I would even be more shocked if they traded for Ayuk.
Me too.
But I could be wrong. All right,
Maybe the 49ers are
let's
getting
hit
more
the
desperate
phones.
because last I checked, he hasn't signed with the 49ers.
He hasn't.
Hold
And
on,
he
I
hasn't agreed to the trade to the Steelers.
I want to ask you one more time. JP Flame, my longest running friend, like a brother to me. No JP better than anybody in the world. Do you believe that trading Jahan Dotson is hurting the offense and hurting Jaden Daniels?
I would bet yes.
Okay, they don't think so. All right, okay.
But they
so
might
you're
also
on the record.
They might also have a master plan of, and it might not even be this year. It might be like we're
You think
not
they're
going to be
punting this year?
I think they're punting their receiving core to an extent. If they keep it just with what they have right now, their wide receiver production will be less than the receiver production from last year.
Ooh,
I would bet that.
That's a good question. I'd like to look at that. I might take that.
Offensive production, I believe, will be better. Just
problem
because
is
Jaden
Bieniemy
Daniels
threw all
and
the
you
time.
have Austin Eckler. Like I
He
like
did.
Austin Eckler.
But he wasn't effective.
I think their tight ends is an upgrade. I think Austin Eckler is an upgrade.
Exactly.
But I think the receiver downgrade.
Well, if all the others offset the other and
Well,
then
we have to
some,
wait and see.
Who cares?
We'll have to see.
Well, you want
I
to
mean,
uplift them all.
you also
But that's not life. I mean,
does
it's not
Washington
the
have
dream team.
does Washington have a better quarterback situation now?
Yes.
Yes.
Better coaches.
They do.
Assume better scheme. I could scheme up better offense than Bieniemy.
But I don't know how many
was
points-
The poison.
I don't know how many points they're going to score. I have no idea.
They're going to score more because they have better scheme, better coaches, better quarterback.
I agree with Jason though.
Again,
Defenses are not going to be scared of their receiving core.
if they
I know
score
that.
if they score one more
cares?
if they score one more point per game, that ain't great.
no, it's not.
I mean,
Well, I think-
it's got to be considerable.
Okay, but
19 a game sucks.
Okay, go through. You went through Kingsbury. You were jocking him for 1 and 2 point per game increases
Well, he
year
went
to
up-
year when he was in Arizona.
No, he went up 4, and that's a big
okay.
difference.
And I think he ended up around 23 or something like that. I'm going to
He
say
ended up at
I'd say-
26.
okay, I'm going to say we go from 19 to 21, 22. And I'm not saying it's great.
All right.
I don't think we have the best talent,
Yeah, you're
but
right.
I think it's going to be better.
All right, let's hit the phones. 800. We've struck a nerve. 800-636-1067. How you feeling about this Dotson deal?
Mark, what's up?
Hey, Mark.
This is a bad deal.
Why?
This is a bad deal, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because Howie Roseman has become our generation's version of Bobby Beathard. Okay, now Jalen Hurts has no excuses now for this team. They have the best receiving core, I think, in the NFC. Eric, let me explain something to you, man.
There's
Now, if
nothing you
wanna
can
argue-
explain to me, but go ahead.
Okay. Let me explain something to you, Eric.
Yeah.
Now, if you're going to argue with me that Jahan Dotson shouldn't be picked in the first round, I totally agree with you.
I'm not arguing that.
He should have been picked at the late second, early third. But Washington was using him as a slot receiver. And that's what Philadelphia's going to use him as a slot receiver. And when I look at how Chicago has Caleb Williams set up and how we have Jaden Daniels, the GM in Chicago is running circles around Adam Peters right now. We had all this cap money. If what Grant said was correct about what Cliff Kingsbury felt about Jahan Dotson, why didn't we go out and get a receiver at free agency? We had the cap money.
They think they did upgrade.
Well, they might have whiffed. They might have put out offers, and guys go elsewhere.
That's also true.
And that's my point. We
I mean, I
don't
just
know
think-
what their next step is. We don't know that they might be saying behind closed doors. We know that we have taken a downgrade at wide receiver, but we'll address it either now or we're going to address it next season. We're playing the long game.
Which means
Why
we
would
don't
they
like
think they
Jahan.
took a downgrade at a guy that
Which
did
brings
nothing
me
all
to-
camp, nothing in the preseason? Why do they think they're
Okay.
downgrading? The guy didn't do
Okay,
jack.
Which brings me to Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels is going to start thinking, just like another quarterback did 12 years ago, that he has to do everything for this team to win. And if that's the case, that's what scares me right now of his growth. Caleb Williams is going to have toys where Jaden is going to have to do everything. And that's where I think they have failed this quarterback right now.
All right. You're on
Well-
the record.
Yeah.
You're on the record, Mark. You're on the record.
Well, that's where coaching comes into play because, if there's a coaching staff that just says, all right, Jaden, go out and do your thing, we're relying on you, that's one thing. But this coaching staff is not going to put him in that position.
JP,
And they are going to be more balanced than people think. I'm telling you. Just because we're talking about Kingsbury again, they are going to run the ball.
Yeah, it's going to help overall.
Yeah.
They love B-Rob. They love Eckler.
Now, I don't know if that's going to mean 23 points per game as opposed to 19.
I think it's going to mean 21 to 23.
It could.
Last year, Terry McLaurin had 1,000 yards receiving. Curtis Samuel actually was number 2 at 613 yards. Jahan Dotson, down year, 518 yards. That's a combined approximately 2,100 yards between their top 3 receivers.
All right, let me ask you a question.
You want to make that bet? That's just based on their poopy receivers.
Let me process it during the break because I wasn't listening to you. If you gave Cliff Kingsbury truth serum, you think he would say we're a worse football team today than we were yesterday?
No, of course he wouldn't say
Hold
that.
on. No, you gave him truth serum. Not like he's like literally he's telling you the God's honest truth in his belief.
Probably not.
Okay. I agree with that. I agree with you. We agree.
But he might, if you gave him truth serum, would he say we have enough at wide receiver?
Oh, I don't know if he would say that. I don't know.
I don't know. You know he wouldn't say that.
I mean, he could always have more talent, of course.
Look, Dan Quinn admitted to us when he had him on the show. He said, we're not there with our receivers. Basically said that.
Well, I think he said we're not there at knowing who's what.
Yeah,
he didn't say our receivers blow.
They went out and signed Martavius Bryant, bro. Come on.
They haven't even played him.
They signed him, though, because they said they needed a 6'4" receiver.
I think they're stashing him.
I'm not saying that they're counting on him. My point is that they're not happy with the position. If you think they are, you're kidding yourself.
I never said they were happy.
Right, they're not. If you were to ask Cliff Kingsbury, do you have enough of a receiver? I guarantee you'd say no. We need to upgrade.
But you're kind of implying that they're happy because you're positing that they have enough players.
I'm just telling you they don't think they got worse.
Well, maybe.
So we're arguing two different things. Could they be better?
I'm not saying they got worse.
Of course they could.
I'm not saying they
we
got worse.
We don't have an elite.
I'm saying that the core unit ain't that great. They would admit that, too.
I'm not arguing that it is great.
All right.
I'm just saying collectively as an offense, we're going to score more than we did last year. And ultimately, that's what matters.
Kingsbury's probably part of the decision because they talk in offensive meetings. And Kingsbury's probably saying to Quinn and Peters, Dotson just doesn't do enough.
Of course, he was a massive part of it.
That's what I'm saying. So I would agree with you that Kingsbury's not going to admit that they're worse. I'm just saying when you look at on paper, the receiving room, where do you rank that right now? It's pretty low.
And
but
there are some whispers about attitude.
If we score more points and we're better offensively collectively, that's ultimately all that matters. Who cares if I got the greatest defensive end in the history of football? I just want my defense to be good.
Well, if you had better players, you're going to score more points. Right now, I don't know if they're going to score more points. You're convinced.
I'm convinced. Better coaching. We literally had my butt coaching last year.
You're right. But you have a rookie quarterback.
EB, Eric's butt.
You just don't know.
Yeah. He was their coach.